Hi, Grandma Joy here. I thought for the new year we could look at clocks. Here's an old-fashioned clock that my uncle gave me. Isn't it beautiful? Look at all the different parts. Very wonderful. And if you look at the back, you can see all the inner workings. And you can even use a key right there to wind up the clock. That's an old-fashioned clock, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? And I have to be very careful when it's not as well protected. It's actually got a beautiful case that will protect it most of the time. Look at that. And that can sit and look beautiful. Isn't that nice? Of course, maybe most clocks you've seen show the time a different way. It may just have some numbers like this one. This one tells you what time it is, right? But it doesn't have a face or hands. It just shows you the numbers. And a lot of clocks are like that, and they're fine, they're fun, and they're easy to tell the time. But clocks used to be more likely to have hands. And so there are clocks like the one I showed you. And here's another one, right? It's a pocket watch that you can keep in your pocket. And here's another pocket watch with numbers. This one's older. Isn't that wonderful? And I made a pretend clock out of a paper plate so I could show you some things with it. Let's look at that. Look, there you go. If you do this and you have both hands, the little hand and the big hand pointing up at the very top, that's where it's 12 o'clock noon. And it doesn't matter if it actually has a 12 number or not. It's still 12 noon or 12 midnight. And if you move the little hand over to the 1, then it's 1 o'clock. And if it's at 2, it's going to be 2 o'clock. If the bigger hand is pointing up at the 12 and the little hand points at a number, it's exactly that time. So now it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. My bigger clock is chiming, so I'm going to show you that. Look at that clock. Isn't that nice sitting on my table? That's a very old clock. It's much older than I am. It's like 150 years old. My uncle gave me that too. I'm so thrilled with my clocks that my uncle has given me. Some of them are railroad clocks, which means that people used it to tell the time and make sure the railroad train was on schedule. And so if they're like that, they always have the stem up at the top where the 12 is. And they have to keep very, very accurate time. Otherwise, they can't be used for telling the time for trains. Isn't that a wonderful, wonderful clock? And notice it has the little hand at the 8 and the big hand at the 12. And so what time is it? It's 8 o'clock. Also notice there's no 6 at the bottom because that's where the seconds are shown. Can you see that? Isn't that a wonderful pocket watch for keeping very accurate time? So if you want to learn about clocks, you can use pretend clocks, you can use a real clock, and you can learn more about them in the big hand and the little hand. So think about it, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. That's what time it is now, it's 8 o'clock. And if the bigger hand starts moving, it's telling you how much after the hour it is. So this might be 5 minutes after the hour or 10 minutes after the hour. Each one gets multiplied by 5. Isn't that interesting? And if you go down here, I would say, well, now it would be 8:30. But it's not really 8:30, is it? It's just after 8 when I'm taping this. And in a while, it'll be a new year. And I hope you enjoy the new year and have lots of fun with whatever it is you're doing. We'll see you another time. Enjoy clocks, okay?